For the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how one of my websites was completely spared from the March Google Apocalypse update. I love calling it that, and I hope it sticks, because the March update really was like an apocalypse for so many websites. It's funny because my wife, who, she knows what I do and she understands what I do to some extent, but she's not super active in it. She doesn't have her own blog. I know, right? But yesterday, she had searched something on Google and she's like, nothing is helpful. All I got was Reddit and it wasn't helpful. And I was like, yeah, it's not. She's like, I ended up going over to Bing. And I told her, exactly, this is the problem with Google right now. It's not just that it's harming us, it's that their product sucks. Today, I want to show you something really cool that happened that helped save one of my websites from that update. This is the traffic from Cook for Folks. This is page views, right? The page view event. So you can see right in here, this right here is March 8th. This is the time frame right in here when that update, and then it rolled out. It continued to roll out over the next several weeks. And my traffic declined a little bit, but nothing like we're seeing on a lot of blog websites. And honestly, this is a website I haven't hardly touched the content in 2.5 years. I did a video, 2.5 years ago talking about why I felt like that website was failing and what needed to be done to fix it. And I just haven't had time to fix it. It hasn't been the priority. And so this website with, frankly, not our best content on it is sitting out there, and it's the one that didn't lose traffic. And it's because of one thing that's been being done on it. Let me show you a little bit more about what's going on here with traffic. When I look at Google as a source of traffic, let's go to Google Search Console and let's see how this website's doing in Google Search. Look at that, it's a cliff. It literally drops from one day to the next to 25% of what it had. I lost almost 75% of traffic overnight, and then it continues to slowly decline. Why are we not seeing that over here? Well, let's look at what else is going on. When I look at the Google Analytics, you can see organic search, and you can see organic search declining, but not nearly at the same pace. Look at that. But look at what's happening at the same time that organic search is declining. This purple line right here, that's organic social. Organic social's increasing. Now, organic search is not dropping the same way as Google Search Console. So what's going on there? Well, when I break it out by actually where the source of my traffic is, Bing. Bing is my top source for for any traffic. Bing. It's literally never happened on one of my websites before. Now let's look at organic social and what's going on here. It's Pinterest. Pinterest is what saved me. Now here's what's interesting. A couple of years ago, we looked into Pinterest. In fact, probably about 4 years ago, we went pretty hard on Pinterest. We took the top Pinterest course out there that everybody was taking. We had an employee who her whole job was to take our content and implement the Pinterest strategy, right? Do exactly what that course said to do. But here's what happened with Pinterest. Their algorithm changed to the point where, because they didn't want to lose people from their platform, they made it so that if people clicked on your pins and went to the blog posts, those pins were more suppressed unless you were paying to have those pins boosted. They wanted to keep people on the platform, just like Facebook did the same thing. They didn't want people leaving the Facebook platform, and so content that would point people away and that was being successful at pointing people away, that content wasn't being shown nearly as much in people's feeds. Well, at some point along the way, Pinterest learned their lesson, and they realized the only reason people use our platform at all is because it helps them find really good, helpful content. But that helpful content doesn't sit on Pinterest, it sits on their websites. And so now it's actually flipped. And I didn't know that because, frankly, Pinterest is not the main focus of my attention until one of our members in Project 24 brought this to my attention. She's been successfully using Pinterest for many years to drive traffic to her Etsy store and to her blog. And it's been her full-time income for a long time. So she volunteered to teach other Project 24 members how to use Pinterest successfully, and she used Cook for Folks as her case study. And this is what happened. This is outbound clicks through my Pinterest account on Cook for Folks. Now, I was really fortunate in my timing that right around the time that I was going to start losing a lot of traffic from Google, I was going to start gaining similar traffic from Pinterest. And it's really cool because it basically followed the exact timeline she said it would. She said it would take at least a few months, probably around 4 months, for that traffic to really start to pick up. And now here we are, the traffic is picked up. So that's really cool. It helped my website to essentially keep the exact same amount of traffic. And another really cool thing happened. I gotta show you something else in the analytics I wasn't planning to share here. I'm excited about what my engagement time has done. The cool thing is when I look at versus a year ago, the engagement time, the actual time people were spending with my content when they actually came to the website from the beginning of the year until now, it's 15% higher than it used to be. The people coming to the website are now spending more time on the site. It's like it's a better fit for what they're searching for. It's like Pinterest is doing a better job of helping people find what they want than Google is. Now I've got to share something else really cool with you. This comes from another member of Project 24. This Project 24 member says, I started a site in October 2023. You might think, that's a horrible time to start a website because the helpful content update stuff was like in the thick of it, right? And they just reached 30,000 sessions a month a couple of days ago. This was end of May, so this just recently happened. 30,000 sessions a month since October. That's really good growth. They said, I applied to Journey by Mediavine, so now they're gonna have Mediavine ads on their website. My main traffic source is Pinterest. Google traffic is 0. Hope to diversify my traffic some more in the coming months, perhaps Facebook. That's tremendous growth, and it's the kind of growth that we often don't even see with a lot of our members on Google, just organically doing that. They just did Pinterest. Now, I love one of the follow-up questions that was asked by another Project 24 member. Amazing, well done. Out of curiosity, did you use any specifically helpful Pinterest courses or people to learn and implement your Pinterest strategy? You know, they're looking for Pinterest help and they came here to the community today to try to ask, where's the best source of information for Pinterest? And the original poster says, there's a Project 24 course by Kara that I found helpful, which explains everything you need to know. Other than this, I did not take any courses. So Project 24 members, if you're looking to do Pinterest, go take the course if you haven't already. I recently went through it myself because I need to do this on my secret project website. So I got to work. I went through the course in my own system that I hadn't taken yet, and I started my own Pinterest. And here it is for my secret website now. And you can see I've just started. Like, this is brand new. I've got 4 pins scheduled out to go over the next few days, but I need to create a lot more pins than this because part of the strategy is essentially to have 1 or 2 pins going out basically every day. So let me show you a little bit of what it takes to do this. First, I need to figure out what to pin. Now, there are a lot of methods taught in the course itself for how to figure out what keywords are trending well on Pinterest and stuff. And a lot of what you could do to be successful here is you can take the data from what works really well with your own pins, and that data is incredibly useful for being able to generate new pins as well as new content for your website. Kind of like how we use Google Search Console, or at least we did, and how you could actually use Bing's Webmaster Tools to be able to figure out what searches you're ranking well for and what searches are getting you a lot of impressions, but that you don't actually have very good content for. And that can help you know what content people are looking for and what content you should create. Pinterest is the same way. On Cook for Folks, we're already getting really good data of content we should be adding, and we're really not because, well, again, it's not the top priority. This site, though, is a priority for me. In fact, it's something I'm gonna be showing you while I build it. And so we're gonna do the work over here. And as we start to get results, we're gonna have some really good data. And when that happens, I'm excited to show it to you. So what else can we do? Well, one of the things Kara recommended is look at your blog posts. What is working the best? What's bringing you the most traffic? Go look in your Search Console or your Bing Webmaster Tools and see which blog posts are showing up the most, getting the most impressions. And that can just give you a general idea of people in general. And just go create some pins for that content and work your way down. Eventually, you probably end up creating pins for all of your posts. And honestly, I think that's basically what we need to do is create pins for all of our posts because you don't know what's gonna do really well on Pinterest. It might be very different from what's working well with Bing or Google or anybody else. And it's good for your account to be very active, but it doesn't do you any good to be creating dozens of pins for just a handful of posts. Go create a few pins for all of your posts. Okay, and now because I'm a total nerd, I do have a little spreadsheet. And this spreadsheet helps me track which of my articles have pins, when those pins went out, what the descriptions were that I used for those pins, what tags I used in them, the link to the article, and then actually a link back to the pin. Some of these I haven't put the pin link in yet because the pin wasn't live the last time I updated this. It was still only scheduled to go out. So we're gonna use this to keep track. Now here I am on Pinterest, and I'm using this as inspiration. This is just my home feed, right? So it's showing me a bunch of stuff that's related to the content in my own pins. And what I'm doing is I'm looking at some of the designs to decide what sort of designs I want to use for my pins. Now, one of the things that's going to save you a ton of time is to create some templates. I don't care what tool you use. I think Kara uses Canva. I use Photoshop because I have Photoshop. And here's what I have. I have a Photoshop design. This is a template here where I've set the canvas to be the size that I want to use for my pins. Then I've actually created over here, I've got 4 different templates. So there's one, there's one, there's one. And literally I can just add a picture, change the text in any of these templates and just go. Now I only have 4. I'm probably gonna want at least a dozen templates eventually. So we're gonna create a new one real quick. Let's find something here on Pinterest we like. This is so simple right here. I'm not gonna use the same font as them. I'm definitely gonna change it to be more myself, but this right here is so simple. In fact, it's very similar to this. They just have kind of this cool edging, right? Makes it kind of look like a cloud. It's kind of like this with text sort of in the middle. So we're gonna go ahead and make something kind of like that. All right, so let's go ahead and we're gonna pick an article. We'll go with this one about water storage. And I'm gonna look at the images that I have in there. Those are both stock photos. I could take a better picture, but for today, we're gonna go ahead and use one of the images that's already in here. Go ahead and copy this image. And there we have it. So now I can just reuse that template anytime with a different photo. See, there's one where I could put a picture below, a picture above, or one tall picture, and then help put that in the middle. We'll go ahead and use that. All right, so now I'm gonna save this. And we'll export the image. I'll go ahead and title the pin exactly the same thing as the blog post. Most of the time, that's probably what you want to do. All right, and then in our description, we want to write out a description that's pretty SEO optimized. Like, what are the things people are going to search? And let's insert those phrases. Pinterest is definitely more of a keyword-based search algorithm than Google is. It's very much less semantic-based and more based on the specific words. So we're gonna write out a bit of a description here and optimize it based on the things that people are likely to be searching here. All right, so without too much keyword stuffing, we've got everything in there we need. I'm gonna click publish at a later date and I'll save this description. Now here's the cool thing. I could take that exact same image and I could put it in a different template, or I could even leave it in the exact same template and I could just change the words in the template. And Pinterest will see that as a unique pin. And so even if 2 pins look basically the same, but they have a difference in them, the pixels have changed. And I mean, again, I can be using the same image, but I could just choose a different template or just change the words just a little bit. And suddenly I have a unique pin. And for every one of these articles that I pin, I'll probably want to generate at least 2 or 3 unique pins, but potentially even more than that. And we'll schedule at least 1 a day for the next while, and we're gonna see how successful this becomes over time. So now all I've got to do, I'm gonna schedule this to go out on the 18th, I believe, and then I'm gonna click schedule. You could see how, especially once I have templates made, this could be done very fast. And I can generate a pin every 5 minutes. And in the course of an hour, I could generate enough pins to last several weeks, maybe even the whole month. And you can schedule out pins for the next 30 days at any given time. So this can become a very simple and mostly automated system for you. And it's something that you could potentially pass off to a virtual assistant at some point. I mean, you could even use AI to help you generate all of your descriptions and stuff. Now I need to share a couple of little things to help you with Pinterest. The first one here is that having somewhere to send people is critical for Pinterest. You can get your pins pinned and be followed by lots of people, but it doesn't actually do you any good unless you have somewhere to send them. So having your website with your blog content to send people to is really valuable, really important. And so all the work you've done already to create blog content is not going to waste. We're just gonna work on getting traffic from elsewhere. And that blog content you've created is still gonna do really well. You could use Pinterest to send people to YouTube videos, and you could do like Kara and use Pinterest to send people over to your Etsy store. But using it to send people over to your own website where you can capture them on an email list and get them more and more engaged with your brand and your business is gonna be one of the best things you can do. The second thing is that Pinterest is not gonna do a ton for building your brand. Pinterest is essentially like another search engine. While it's true that people can choose to follow you, they can follow your account so that when you pin stuff, it's way more likely to show up in their home feed. It's still not going to do a ton to give you a recognizable brand and build you a lot of rapport. That said, just like when you create blog content, you want to make really good blog content so that when people read it, they're like, man, that was really helpful. And they're more likely to remember you, remember your brand, remember how helpful your stuff was. I've done that many times. When I read a really good piece of content, I make mental note of who that was. And oftentimes I'll see more of their content show up either in a search result, maybe in my Google Discover feed. The same thing goes here with Pinterest. If people have a good experience with your pins, because they're not misleading and the content behind them was good, they're going to be more likely to follow you. They're going to be more likely to repin your pins, and they're going to be a lot more likely to click on your pins when they see them in the future. But it's still mostly a search engine. So this isn't the main brand building thing that we're going to be doing to help make our brand really, really strong. It's just one of the ways that we're going to go about getting more traffic to our website, since we can no longer reasonably rely on Google. So in future videos, we're going to talk about other ways, and we're going to go more into Pinterest and share these results. But we'll talk about other ways that we're going to be driving traffic to our website, which is ultimately where we want people to end up. But we're also going to dive a lot deeper on ways that you can strengthen your brand, build rapport, build trust, and build name recognition within your industry. You can do this, and it's going to be so much better than it ever was before when we were focused on much more passive approach. Building a brand and having a reputation is going to make your business so many times stronger than it ever was before. And that's going to help make it way more successful too. And that's it for today. So like I said, if you're in Project 24, go do the Pinterest course if you haven't already and figure out if Pinterest is right for your blog. And if you're not in Project 24, well, at least go become an Income School Insider. You can see the link to that in the description. That way you can get access to more of our cool behind the scenes stuff. We're going to have a lot of cool things to share as we work through this project. I hope to see you there.